Mastery University. So in this video, we're going to continue on with our DeFi series that we've been going on with inside this program. And today we're going to talk about Aave, because this is a really important project for you to know about as a blockchain developer. Okay, you can do flash loans with Aave and so much more. In fact, we just finished the flash loan masterclass, so go check that out definitely if you haven't already. If you want to get the comprehensive overview on how to do flash loans step by step, all right? And in that masterclass, we talked about dydx, all right, and how you can do flash loans with that. There's plenty of code examples. There's actually a template in there that you can just get started with from just right out of the box and start doing your own flash loans and customize them for yourself. So in this video, I'm going to show you another way to do that with Aave. I'll give you another template you can customize for yourself, and we'll also talk about Aave, what they do, but we're going to focus on doing flash loans with Aave inside this video. So before we jump into that, a quick recap, what is a flash loan? This is a brand new topic, one of the most exciting topics that's come up in blockchain in a long time because of what it allows you to do. Basically, you can borrow millions of dollars in cryptocurrency with zero money down, all right? It's pretty crazy. And so many people have asked me about this, and so I've been creating videos about them in this program for you all, okay? So I'm not going to cover flash loans in depth tonight, from a conceptual point of view. Definitely go check out the other videos about that. There's one here, flash loans, a hands-on introduction. Let's see here, see how you can perform a flash loan step by step, and then also, of course, the epic flash loan masterclass that we just finished up. Okay, so if you want the bigger story on what flash loans are and how to do them, definitely check out those crazy videos. And this one, I'm just going to show you a very specific way about how to do flash loans with Aave. Okay, and we're also talking about Aave and what they do. So it started out as a project ETH and changed directions over time. Okay, now they've rebranded as Aave. So Aave is a decentralized protocol that does a lot of different things, including flash loans. But I want to talk about the main underlying feature, which is basically a liquidity pool. Okay, and this is basically where there's just a whole lot of money sitting in one spot, and you can create smart contracts that allow you to do things with that money. More people can add money to it, all right? People can earn interest on that money, okay? And then also, on the other side of it, people can borrow it with collateralized loans, and then people can also do flash loans, okay? So you're seeing all types of projects work on this model. Seeing dydx do a very similar type of thing. And so Aave sort of has several different spokes to the project, and flash loans are one of them. And I talked about this in the dydx video that, typically people aren't going to build a protocol just for doing flash loans. They typically build something that has this liquidity pool, it's versatile, and can support multiple features. And flash loans is sort of just a feature you can add on to something like that. So if you have millions of dollars accessible with smart contracts, then you can just basically add flash lending on as a feature. So that's really a quick overview of Aave and what it does. I'm not getting into all the features of Aave in this video. If y'all want to know more about that, definitely let me know. We can talk about that in the future. But let's focus on flash loans tonight because that's a really hot topic. And I want to give you all more options on how to do it, frankly. So that being said, let's jump in and start. So the crazy thing about doing flash loans is that you don't really need that much coding knowledge in order to do it. I mean, think about it. It's just one programming language. You can do everything in your browser. And I can just give you a template that you can customize. Okay, it's pretty amazing. I think you can learn to code specifically for this purpose. And there are not many things in engineering and development where you can just learn a little bit and get a big benefit, right? Like some people code maybe just to build a basic website, and they can get learn enough HTML, learn enough CSS just to do that. And yeah, there's definitely some benefit there. But this is something where you can learn a single programming language and actually trade currency and borrow money and do arbitrage. It's pretty crazy. And honestly, all you have to do is know enough code to put in here to make the trades. So I'll explain what I mean by that. Basically, I have a smart contract that should be a resource to down in the description below. That is just a template, okay? And this is a template that talks to the Aave lending pool, and it performs a flash loan. So it has one function here, flash loan, that borrows DAI, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And once it performs a flash loan, you can do anything you want to inside this function right here. So in a sense, you can pretty much ignore all this other stuff up here. This is all just internal wiring that's provided by Aave in order to perform the flash loan. And then all the really important stuff happens in the single smart contract down here, okay? The main functions are execute operation. This has to be implemented for it to call your smart contract. And then the flash loan function is what you call whenever you do this, okay? So it's hard-coded that you're going to borrow DAI in this case. So let's talk about DAI. So DAI is a stable cryptocurrency whose price doesn't change. It's pegged to the US dollar. So basically $1 is worth one DAI. About. It's just a little bit of variance, but that's the whole idea, okay? So DAI is a very famous cryptocurrency that runs on top of the Ethereum platform. It's an ERC20 token that's run by a smart contract. So it's just code that lives on a blockchain. That's the cool thing about Ethereum is it allows you to create your own cryptocurrency without creating a new blockchain. It sits on top of a different one, just a program that governs how the DAI currency works, okay? And so I'm going to show you how to borrow DAI in this example. Okay, that's what we do here. Let me pull up the remix here. All right, this is the DAI address. So if you don't believe me, you can just copy it, put it in Etherscan here and see that it matches. All right. So your DAI. So you need some DAI in order to do this. And that's the next thing I'll say is I'm going to code this against the mainnet. All right. So people have asked me, can you do this with Ganache CLI forking off of the mainnet? I've got a video about that in the video vault. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see here. Yes, forking Ethereum mainnet with Ganache CLI. You can probably do this with this implementation, all right? And maybe you want to try this without risking your own funds first. But check out that video if you want to find an alternative. But I'm personally going to code it against the mainnet, which basically means I'm going to put a smart contract on the Ethereum mainnet to do the flash loan. And because at the end of the day, if you actually want to do a flash loan on the mainnet, you need to work on the mainnet, okay? So do this at your own risk. Don't put in more Ethereum that you can afford to lose, all that kind of stuff. Not financial advice. Don't get wrecked, all those things. But I'm actually going to put the flash loan smart contract template on the Ethereum mainnet, and that's how I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? So we're going to use real mainnet DAI, so you need some in order to do it. So if you don't have any, then you first and foremost need Ether. So, Ether is the native cryptocurrency of Ethereum blockchain. You'll need some of this in order to pay gas fees on the network. So, you need a MetaMask account, like this, and then you need to put some real Ethereum cryptocurrency inside there. Might need $10, $15 just to get started. Don't put in more than you can afford to lose all that kind of stuff. You're gonna actually have to pay some Ether in terms of gas fees to pull this off. So be careful. Know that there are risks associated with this kind of thing. But yeah, you need to buy some. I use Coinbase.com. If there's a link down below, you can use that. If not, just go directly to Coinbase and buy some. You will need a KYC. So if you don't want to do that, maybe find your own alternative for getting Ether. Maybe if you're able to mine some, perfect, great. If you want to get it through some other decentralized means, then by all means do so. Okay, if you can. But that's just what I would suggest. Okay. So you need some Ether, you need some DAI. So once you've got some Ether, you can get DAI, you can get it on Coinbase, you can get it on a centralized exchange, or you could do something like a 1-inch exchange, which I like. Basically, you can just buy some DAI. I'm going to buy like $4 or $5 worth of DAI on 1 inch, and basically just swap now, click verify, sign a transaction in MetaMask, and then boom. Okay. And then once you get some DAI, you're going to see it in your wallet. Okay. So you'll need to have some Ether in your wallet, you need to have some DAI in your wallet. So I've got $4.06 in DAI here. Okay. So let me tell you why you need DAI. Aave charges fees whenever you take out flash loans. So whenever you call this function, you're going to pay a protocol fee based on the amount that you borrow. And I believe right now Aave is 0.09%. All right. So if you borrow, $100, then I believe you're going to pay you'll probably pay 90 cents. I think that's the right math. Okay. So this fee scales linearly. So if you borrow $1 million, and you have to pay a really high fee. And that's the reason I like dydx is you pay really small fees. But you need to send some DAI to this Flash Loan smart contract in order to pay the Flash Loan fees whenever you borrow the money. Okay. So I'll show you how to do that in this tutorial. All right. So that being said, now that you've got your smart contract template here, put it in Remix. All right. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that. You can just go to your files and click create a new file, put this in here. All right. Paste it in here. We're going to borrow DAI. Make sure you got some Ether in your wallet. Make sure you got some DAI in your wallet. Okay. So make sure you're connected to the main Ethereum network in Remix. Actually, first of all, compile it. By default. There you compile. Click Solidity version 0.5.6. All right. Make sure you click the Flash Loan contract here. Put this here, compile, and then go to the deploy tab. Do injected Web3 provider. All right. It's going to be main Ethereum network. Make sure you click Flash Loan here, and then click deploy. 25 way, confirm. All right. Sign the transaction MetaMask. This is costing about $5. So you will pay some money to do this. Like I said, you can always go back and check this video here on forking the Ethereum mainnet with Ganache CLI if you want to try to do this without using real funds. But at the end of the day, if you're going to do Flash Loans for real, you know how to do them on the mainnet, so that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So I'll wait for this transaction to finish. But essentially what we want to do, once this Flash Loan contract has been deployed, all right, it has, looks like, so transaction confirmed, I just got the MetaMask confirmation. With that Ether scan to take a second to refresh, but it's done because I can see it here in Remix. All right. Yeah, it's done. Okay, perfect. So now the contract on the network, we're going to call the Flash Loan function. So we can go click on the contract here, and then first of all, we need to send some DAI to the smart contract. So I'm going to copy the address. We have to send some DAI, pay the fees. And then I'm going to go, let's see here, change to DAI, click send, paste in my smart contract address. Yeah, just copy that from here, put it in send to DAI. I'm just going to send the max, I'll put like $4.50. Be fast, send it. All right. Then once that's done, the smart contract will be funded with DAI. Again, we're doing this to pay the Flash Loan fees to the Aave protocol. So we're not going to borrow a ton of money in this video, because honestly, I don't want to pay a really high fee just to demonstrate a Flash Loan. Like I said, you borrow $1 million, your fees going to be pretty high. And the only time I really want to do that is if I see a profitable situation. And I'm not going to make a profit in this case because I'm not actually executing any transactions inside of here. But yeah, you'll see what I mean by that in a second. Okay. All right, so that's done. Just sent DAI to smart contract. Let's give it a shot. So I'm going to click Flash Loan, and let's do it. All right. Click confirm. Sign the transaction. Wait for the transaction to finish. And while that's going, it's going to take probably a minute for it to go. I'll explain what's kind of going on here. Okay. So recap on this. This is the Flash Loan function. It's got the settings already built in here. So if you want to borrow a different currency besides DAI from the Aave lending pool, you'll need to change the address here. So again, this is just DAI, and we can see the other options here. Look at that link. Here they have an address. Okay, here's all the currencies they support. All right, so Aave ETH, Aave DAI. They basically have all their versions of these different currencies. Let's see here. So yeah, you can check out these, and yeah, that's what they support. So here's the other addresses: ETH, DAI, TSD. Yeah, so there's lots of different tokens that you can work with on Aave. All right, while we're waiting for our transaction to finish mining here, yeah, so you can change the token out here if you want to. Like I said, you can swap it with any of them from this document here. Just check out this link. And then you can also customize the amount. Okay, so right here it says we're doing 1 Ether. So that's a little misleading. It's not really Ether. Okay, so this is just a shortcut in Solidity to say 1 followed by 18 decimal places because of how tokens work. Basically, if you think about US dollar, like the US dollar looks like this. It has 2 zeros behind the decimal place. But Ether has 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Right? And then in smart contracts, you don't use decimal places. Everything, you don't have you don't have periods. So basically, you express everything without them. So this is like what 1 Ether looks like. Okay. And then tokens do the exact same thing, so you can just use the Ether shortcut, and that's what this 1 Ether means. It really just means this big number here. Okay, so that means you're just borrowing one of the token, and in this case, you're borrowing DAI, so you can just read this like 1 DAI because it means 1 followed by 18 zeros. Okay, so if you want to borrow 100 DAI, you'd say 100. If you want to borrow 1,000 DAI, of course, it'd be 1,000 or a million, etc., etc. But don't forget, Aave has a 0.9% fee at the time to record this video, so you need to be prepared to pay that fund in your smart contract whenever you take out the loan. Okay. And of course, this is just a template for the Flash Loans. If you're actually going to do arbitrage or whatever you want to do with the Flash Loan, this is where you add the code here. Okay, so highly recommend checking out the Flash Loan masterclass because we have code examples in there of an arbitrage situation actually executed once you've taken out a Flash Loan. So I don't want to recreate all of that inside of this particular project because it's the same idea. You can take the same kind of code and put it in Aave Flash Loan. I mostly want to tell you how to use the Aave template so you can customize it however you want to. But if you're going to do that, this is the exact function to do it because this execute operation function is part of the Aave specification so that its protocol can actually call this on your particular smart contract. So if you're going to do any kind of functionality, it has to go here. So a couple ideas, like I said, you can check out that Flash Loan masterclass. You could do your own contract here. You can say contract like trader, and then have like an arb function. This is like what I do. And you can write all your arb logic inside of here. And then you can say like, is arb or is trader, right? And then you basically just replace this with an arb function or something, right? You just call arb like that. And that way you don't have to mess all the code up in here, or mess up all the code in here, and you can extract it away into its own smart contracts, kind of like class-based inheritance if you come from a different programming background. If you don't, then you're getting an introduction to good programming principles. Basically the idea is you can just swap something out and put it in a different spot. So I'm gonna undo all that because I don't want to make that end up in the final code example. I want this to be an unblemished template that you all can use. So all right, our transaction has been confirmed here. Let's take a look. And boom, there we go. A successful Flash Loan transaction. So yeah, we borrowed $1 and 1 cent from the Aave lending pool, 1 DAI, and then we paid it back here after we borrowed it instantly, and you can see that a $0.0009 fee was paid to the Aave lending pool. That's that 0.09% fee that I was talking about. Okay, we only borrowed 1 DAI. If you want to change the amount that you're borrowing, you can specify that in the templates here, right? You can change this, or you can use function parameters here, like the other Flash Loan template. You could say amount, amount, and pass in your own arbitrary amount. You could also say asset. So if you want your function to be able to accept arbitrary amounts and arbitrary assets, then you can parameterize it like this. You can just say, address asset. address asset or UA amount. You can pass in whatever amount you want. Okay. So that's the idea. And this is a template that you can just steal and use right now and do your own flash loans for wherever you want to. And you can do it with Aave lending protocol. So that's all I got for today. Hope you like this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And until next time, thanks for watching Blockchain Mastery University. All right, so welcome back to Blockchain Mastery University. So we got a lot to talk about this week. I'm really excited about today's video for lots of reasons, which you'll find out here in a minute. But yeah, we're gonna do things a little bit differently today. All right, we're gonna actually do a live video presentation, right? And in case you missed the message in the general chat that I posted today, basically we're gonna try this out and see how it goes. And if this works well, then we'll continue on with this pattern. So basically, I'm gonna present today's video live, and we're gonna have Q&A at the end. So you can ask questions about what I'm talking about today. Today's topic was about dydx, which is pretty awesome. And then if there's any general questions, like maybe you've had questions throughout the week that you couldn't quite get answers to inside the chat room, or maybe you just have a burning question now, I'm happy to cover whatever those are after this presentation. Okay? So yeah, we're gonna give this a shot. If this works out well, probably this is what we'll do: is we'll do one of these types of things maybe once a month, just like a flash loan masterclass. We're gonna do that next week instead of a normal live stream like we do, and we'll probably set those into a regular routine where we have a focused presentation like this where we do Q&A and kind of batch it all up. I think that would be really effective. So still doing one video per week in the video vault. That won't get disrupted, but once per month we'll have a live class probably like this. So that's the first thing. The next thing is, don't forget the flash loan masterclass is next week. All right, it's on Wednesday. June 10th. I forgot what month it is. And that's going to be at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. It's a little bit different from our normal live stream time. It's pushed back a few hours so that people sort of all over can join. Right? There's going to be a replay link later. And so you all get free access to the Flash Loan Masterclass because you're a part of Blockchain Mastery University. I know we have some new people in the program. I've opened it back up so that people can take advantage of this program with the Flash Loan Masterclass, et cetera, et cetera. So super excited about that. So mark your calendars for next week. That will be in place of the normal live stream. It's going to move back a couple hours. So this week what I want to talk about is dydx. All right, this is a really important project in the blockchain ecosystem, the DeFi ecosystem. It's a really awesome dApp. I'm going to tell you what it is, why you need to know about it, and how you can use it as a developer, not just an end user. Right? That's what this program's about, is how you can become a better blockchain developer, keep up to date on all the relevant skills and things like that. Okay, so we're going to talk about dydx. And one of the most important reasons I'm making this video now is because we are using dydx for flash loans. Okay, I'll explain more about that here in a minute. But next week when we do the flash loan masterclass, we're probably going to use dydx to perform the flash loan. If you watched my video on the $1 million blockchain skill, watch me trade $1 million in cryptocurrency, I used dydx for that. Okay, so I'm going to give you a deeper dive into this project and what you can do with it as a developer. Right? So let's jump into that. All right, we got some more people tuning in here. See people in the chat. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the Slack Q&A thread there. I probably won't address the questions necessarily that often while I'm presenting, but we'll mostly say the questions for the end. All right, so what is dydx? Well, it is a dApp. It's a blockchain application that does a lot of different things. Let's just look at it here. So they advertise themselves as the most powerful open trading platform for crypto assets. So this is a DeFi product for trading cryptocurrencies, all right? And it's not a normal exchange like you might think about, like Coinbase or Binance or something like that. It works differently, and it has some more advanced features. Okay, so what can you do with it? You can trade cryptocurrencies, like I said. You can borrow cryptocurrencies. You can lend, all right? And why would you do this? Well, it's a trustless platform, so it's a decentralized exchange. It is non-custodial. So basically, what that means, like if you were going to use a website like Coinbase, for example, they control the private keys to your funds, and they hold your funds, and you have to basically they're the gatekeepers on whether or not you can have deposit or withdraw your cryptocurrency at any given time. Okay, so I'm not necessarily like knocking Coinbase. I think it's a really great product for people who just are trying to get into cryptocurrency. I use Coinbase myself, so I'm not saying they're bad, but there's definitely a benefit to having completely decentralized exchanges just like this. Okay, so let's see here. But one of the biggest features of dydx is that it is a leveraged trading platform that allows you to do margin trading. Okay, and I'll tell you about what that is in a second. I'll just put that as a note here. So we'll do margin trading. Right, that's a key feature. Sorry, I'm trying to make this font a little bigger. Margin trading. So what is margin trading? Well, essentially, it is having an account where you can deposit funds and trade with leverage. Okay, so I'll give you a brief example of this here in a minute. Basically, if you have a small amount of cryptocurrency, you can use more cryptocurrency to create leverage trades with like short positions and open positions. I'll show you about that here in a minute. But that's essentially what it is. Okay? So why would you use dydx, and why would you want to do this on the blockchain compared to some other traditional financial system, right? Let's say maybe Coinbase implemented a margin trading platform. They have one already. I'm just not totally sure. Well, in the traditional financial world, there's all this like red tape with margin trading. Okay, so for somebody who doesn't want to give away their ID, all their documents, maybe can't get approved, maybe they don't have a high enough net worth or something like that, they may not actually be able to margin trade because there are gatekeepers in place that prevent them from doing this. But because of blockchain, basically, there are no gatekeepers, right? You don't have to KYC, you don't have to get approval, and so a product like this opens the doors for lots of people to take advantages of financial instruments that they would not otherwise be able to access. Okay, so that's huge, and it's non-custodial, like I said, which basically means they don't control your funds. So let's say another cryptocurrency exchange even say you didn't have to KYC, like maybe they still control your funds, and that would be a potential downside as well. So they remove all those kinds of things, right? So let's just I'll take a step back here for a second, and I'll talk about this. Like some of these concepts might be a little intimidating, right, at first, especially for developers. I talked in this video here on YouTube. I'll point you to it. Let's see here. This one right here. Every blockchain developer must have this one skill. I'll even enlarge that. I'll put that this week. Basically, I'll talk about the knowledge of finance. Okay, and that's critical if you want to become a blockchain developer right now, because so many of the projects that are being built that they're hiring blockchain developers for are finance-related projects. Okay, and having this knowledge about hey, what is margin trading? What is all this other stuff will give you a huge edge in the marketplace. Okay. And don't worry, like I didn't know all this stuff when I first started as a blockchain developer. I had to learn a lot of this over time. So I know it can be super overwhelming saying, oh no, I have to learn, blockchain, I have to learn Solidity, Ethereum, JavaScript. Now I have to learn all this financial knowledge, right? I'm totally with you. It's a real challenge, but there's so much upside to knowing this information because it makes you so valuable in the marketplace. And you really understand the problems that you're trying to solve. And also, when you know this stuff, it will basically open the doors to what you can do with blockchain technology. And you can even build your own blockchain products. And there's no gatekeepers, right? I posted these videos recently on with Jesse about how he and his team built a $17 million cryptocurrency exchange, and there really are no gatekeepers for you doing something like that. All you need is some coding knowledge, which I'm providing you with, and some elbow grease and some ingenuity and some creativity, and you can build this kind of stuff. All right, so let's continue on. Let me just show you the platform. Okay, so if you click the Start Trading button, I'll show you the interface and then kind of talk about what's available to developers in the back end. So here is their core product. All right, whenever you click through, it takes you to the trade tab. This is for margin trading. Okay, so this is what I mean by margin trading. Basically, you can deposit some cryptocurrency like Ether. You just connect your wallet with MetaMask, you put some in, and you can open a long position or a short position. So a long position inside this marketplace is saying, I expect the price of one of these cryptocurrencies to go up versus a short position, which is I expect the price of this cryptocurrency to go down, right? That's what a long position is, that's what a short position is, okay? And basically position size is, you say I want to give it like, 1 Ether, okay? And then you specify the amount of leverage. I'll zoom in on this. It actually doesn't like it when I zoom, so I'll undo that. Let's try it again. Yeah, let's try it again. Here we go. All right. Well, after, I think I hit the break point in the browser. So let's just say I have 1 ETH in my wallet. I can say I want to trade it at 5x leverage, all right? And I open a long position. And if the price goes up, right, 241 over, my expiration date is 28 days. Then basically I'm at 5x leverage, which is 5 Ether, right? And then I get a much higher return than if I don't have to have 5 Ethereum in order to do that. Now, of course, if the trade goes the other way, then you can lose your money pretty fast, right? That's the downside. But conversely, if you open a short position, do 1 Ether, 5x, 4x leverage, something like that, price goes down, then the opposite happens. Okay, that's basically how margin trading works. Like this exists in the traditional financial system or the legacy financial system, as people want to call it. It might also exist on some centralized exchanges, but here you can just do it directly from your wallet. You just sign orders that are that determine your intent to trade. You can do those with an API, which I'll show you later, which is pretty cool. Okay. So this is the core product. And so it has this margin trading stuff, but it also has a really basic, just like borrow and lend function, okay? You don't have to be a margin trader in order to use dydx. So if you've ever seen other apps like Compound Finance, for example, or like Uniswap or something like that, or there's some others, but basically you can just buy cryptocurrency, let's say like DAI, for example, which is a stable cryptocurrency, and deposit it here and earn interest on it, okay? So you actually see the interest tables here, where it's basically like if you put DAI in here, you get 3% interest rate, okay? So that's a use case, is I take my US dollar or whatever your currency that you hold, whatever fiat currency you hold, convert it into a stable cryptocurrency, the price doesn't change, like DAI, and then you supply it to dydx and you can just earn 3.19% interest on it, okay? So that's a pretty killer use case for blockchain technology right there. Because I'll tell you right now, my savings account does not give me 3.19% interest, right? Now, I'll also pause right here in the video and say, I'm not telling you to go move all of your savings into this protocol necessarily, but that's how it works. Okay? That's a huge killer benefit of blockchain technology is savings rates, okay? So same for USDC, it's also a cryptocurrency whose price doesn't change. Ethereum, of course, is the base cryptocurrency for the Ethereum network. Its price does change, it does go up and down, okay? So those are sort of the core features of dydx. You can also borrow on the other side, but it's a collateralized loan, so you have to give it one cryptocurrency and borrow a different one that you can use to do whatever trade. And they also have flash loans, right, which you can't do from the interface here because it requires you to essentially be a developer and write smart contracts that execute the flash loans. So that is a general overview of dydx and how it works. And I want to tell you about this because now that's basically how users use it. Now I'm going to tell you how developers use it. I'm going to show you how to kind of peer behind the curtain and come up with any real creative features that you want to use dydx for, because there's a lot of possibilities, right? I'll show you how to take advantage of that. Okay? So inside of behind dydx, there's a really core feature, which is a liquidity pool. Okay. So what is a liquidity pool? Well, basically, it's just a giant reservoir of money that can be used to do like a lot of different things. Right? That's what's at the heart of it. There's just this giant reservoir of money that, and it's being populated by all kinds of different things. Okay, it's being populated by people who are doing margin trading. It's being populated by people who are lending money in order so they can make interest, right? And then it's also being used to do margin trading. All right, and then also being used to let's see here, do flash loans, and then also for borrowing. So basically, there's this giant pool, and the cool thing about dydx is they can implement all these new features that just do whatever they want to with this pool. And that's kind of how the flash loan thing happened. They didn't start out to be a flash loan provider. That's not the core of their product. They could just simply implement this flash loan feature as a way to use this liquidity pool. So if you look at other protocols like I said, Compound Finance earlier, or Uniswap, a lot of them use these liquidity pools where people are supplying money to this in a decentralized way. That's the inflow of money, and the outflow of money. The outflow of money is all these features here. And so you as a developer are able to do different things with this liquidity pool. Right? This is where the real opportunity comes in. Okay, and then you can also do margin trading as a developer as well. So that's what I'm going to talk about really for the rest of this video and walk you through that and show you how it works. Okay, so I'll pause here. Got some messages coming in. Let's kind of see what's going on. All right. All good. Okay, so let's move on here. The thing that you definitely want to look at now, actually, before we jump into the developer stuff, let me just show you how the interest works. So you'll see, like, talking about this liquidity pool, there's people who are supplying funds to this liquidity pool through lending, through margin deposits, things like that. So the interest rate essentially works like this. The more it's utilized, the higher the interest rate goes. So you can see this table here, like DAI, for example, is at 50% utilization rate, roughly about 60%. And the supply APR is at 3.19%. So my understanding is as this utilization goes up, this interest rate goes up, and the less people use it, then the interest rate goes down. So there's like some economic incentive here. The more people are supplying and borrowing, that those things are those things work together to factor this interest rate. So it's a pretty cool mechanism. All right, so let's talk about how you can use it as a developer. Well, first and foremost, I think most people in this program are definitely interested in flash loans. I'm interested in flash loans. And that's one of the biggest benefits you get from dydx. I covered that in the last video on how to perform flash loans step by step, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about next week inside of Flash Loan Masterclass. So I'll not cover flash loans in depth in this video, but of course I'll give you a quick explanation. Essentially, a flash loan is a way to borrow cryptocurrency with zero money down, like from this liquidity pool here. You can borrow millions of dollars to trade as long as you pay it back in the same transaction. Okay, so you have to pay back at very minimum the exact amount you borrow plus a small fee. Okay? So that's how a flash loan works. Now let's talk about some of these other protocols here. Let's take a peer behind the curtain and see what is available for developers to do on dydx. Well, there are two main. There's three ways basically Well, two main ways. You can interact with the smart contract protocols themselves, or you can interact with their API. Okay, so I'll show you that on the board here. Protocols, and then API. Okay. So there are two main protocols inside of here. They're powered by smart contracts on the blockchain. It's like the back end, right, for the actual product itself. And then there is a like a web API, like HTTP API, and also WebSocket API that lets you create orders and do margin trading, which is pretty cool. Okay. So let's look at those. All right. So the first one is the Solo protocol. So Solo is a set of smart contracts on the blockchain, right? And it allows you to basically do a few different things, right? You can do all the margin trading features. So basically, you can deposit funds into it, draw funds into it, buy, sell, call, liquidate, vaporize. Those are the main features that exist inside of that particular protocol. So essentially, you're able to do margin trading without the help of the user interface. Like if you're a developer and you want to create some sort of margin trade with smart contracts, or build your own app that does it, this is how you do it. Okay. And so the other protocol is the perpetual protocol. Okay. Let's write this on the board here. So two protocols. We got Solo and perpetual. Okay. All right. So the perpetual contract. Before we talk about the actual contracts, let's just look at the specification. And this will kind of help you understand from an end user's perspective, and then you can translate that back to how it works as a developer. So basically, you see here, perpetual allows you to trade assets that don't really exist on the blockchain, synthetic assets. So let's say Bitcoin, for example. So let's say you wanted to do Bitcoin margin trading that doesn't exist on the blockchain, right? So because Bitcoin is a different blockchain, so let's say BTC versus Ethereum. All right, Bitcoin is its own blockchain, and it does not talk to Ethereum at all. And dydx is completely powered by the Ethereum network. So if you want to trade Bitcoin, essentially, you have to create some synthetic representation of Bitcoin on the blockchain, and that's what perpetual does. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah, totally. Okay. So perpetual, what it does is the contract specification allows you to do that. It has some parameters like the minimum amount that you can trade, some order size and like that, but you can do margin trading just like I showed you, right? And they have a software developer kit where you can basically just hook into this and pretty much do all of these programmatically if you want to. So that'd be a big use case. So let's say you wanted to programmatically create, do margin trades based on what the current Bitcoin price was. So for example, like you could create your own algorithm that would say, all right, Bitcoin drops below this certain amount, then I want to create a perpetual contract that based on whatever the price movement was, you can create a new position with a perpetual contract to forecast what a desirable outcome will be in the whatever price motion you decide. Okay. So essentially, let's say like Bitcoin goes down to like $5,000, right? And at $5,000, you set a rule, right? You set a rule that says, all right, when it hits $5,000, I consider that rock bottom, and therefore I want to create a long position that I think it's going to go up. Okay. So that's like an example use case where you use a developer, right? Then you would implement that position with something like this protocol to go ahead and automatically create a long position with your cryptocurrency that lets you sort of speculate on the future price of Bitcoin. Do it with leverage, and do it 20x leverage if you want to. I don't think I offer 20x leverage on that, but like 5x leverage, because you're reasonably confident the price of Bitcoin can go back up within that 28-day expiration period. Okay, and that's the way you can programmatically create new positions for yourself based on price movements of cryptocurrencies that don't presently exist on the Ethereum blockchain, like Bitcoin, for example. Okay, so that's what perpetual does for non-Ethereum based assets, and you basically do the same types of things with the Solo protocol. But Solo is for assets that do exist on top of Ethereum. So they show you all the trading pairs inside there. So for example, Ether, the native cryptocurrency for Ethereum blockchain. Let's see, let's look at the pairs here. Here's the markets. So WETH, which is wrapped Ether, Sai, which is DAI stable currency, but it's single collateral, just uses Ethereum to collateralize the assets, USDC, and also DAI. Okay, so that's how it works, and I'll explain the markets here. So for example, like they have different cryptocurrencies. They have like Sai, DAI, USDC, and Ether. All right, so I'll break those down again. So Sai is a stable coin. It's pegged to US dollar. It's the old version of DAI. Okay, so DAI is the new version. Basically, Sai stands for single collateral DAI, which means that whenever you have a stable currency, something has to back it up. So basically, if you're saying like I have $1 per token, then you have to have something worth $1 that represents that token. That's what the collateral is. So in Sai, it basically says I have $1 worth of ETH. All right, so $1 worth of Ethereum for every single Sai token in existence. Right, that's what single collateral means. But for multi-collateral DAI, that's what the new DAI is. It says I have like $1 of a mixture of assets. So that might be like ETH. I forget what all the currencies are that are backing that up. Let's just say USDC, something like that, right? And this is one thing that's really important about both of these cryptocurrencies is that what they're called crypto native stablecoins, which is pretty important because essentially, like a lot of people are worried about these fiat-backed stablecoins. That's what USDC is. They're worried about them getting regulated. But these crypto native stablecoins are actually backed by other cryptocurrencies, whereas USDC is a fiat-backed cryptocurrency. Okay, let's say fiat-backed. All right, so there might actually be like USDC in a bank account somewhere that represents $1 worth of USDC. Okay, which people worry about that being regulation hurdle. Like maybe one day regulators just decide to crack down and say you can't do that anymore. They worry about USDC getting censored. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that's just something you all should be aware of. All right, and lastly, we've got ETH, which is the native cryptocurrency of Ethereum, but in this case, they actually support rack ETH. So that's what WETH is. So WETH is basically taking your Ethereum and converting it to an ERC20 token. Okay, so it's getting a little messy up here. Sorry, guys. All right. So why would you do that? Well, basically so you can trade it. All right. So on the ERC20 standard, you have things like approval functions that allow you to let exchanges spend your money for you, but you don't have that with Ethereum by itself. So like, for example, ERC20 has a function called approve, which says, hey, exchange, I'm going to let you spend money for me. Okay, and I'll tell you how much. Okay. But you can't do that with Ethereum. And so you have to wrap it with wrap ETH. Basically, just send it to the wrap ETH smart contract, and it gives you ERC20 tokens that represent the same amount of Ether. And then you can always unwrap it later and just request it back. Okay. So those are the assets it supports. Right? So yeah, you can use all these cryptocurrencies inside the Solo protocol, which allows you to do all the features that you can do in the user interface, like margin trading. Okay, and that's how you get started with that. So the last thing I want to show you is their API. Okay, so their API allows you to programmatically create new margin orders as well. So how does it do this? Like people say, oh, this is not with smart contracts. That doesn't make any sense. Like how is this decentralized? How is this blockchain based type of thing? Well, this is actually a pretty common design pattern because some information, some data can live off chain. It doesn't have to actually live on the blockchain because the data has been signed by the person who intends to trade. Okay, and you can submit that, put it in a database, and that's okay. So basically, let's look at the signature. So Ethereum allows you to basically sign information with your private key, and whenever it's submitted to the network, it can essentially be decoded. This is a high-level explanation to prove that you were the person who endorsed this action, right? So for example, that's what you can do here. Like you can just sign an order with the API. Okay, you sign with your private key. You can even see the type signature here. Okay, and it basically encrypts some data with your private key, and this lives in a database. And then whenever the orders actually goes through, it's submitted to the blockchain, and the smart contract can decode this and prove cryptographically that you were the person who signed this, and it knows what your intention was, and it takes this action on your behalf. Okay. So that's what's really cool about their API is you can create these things, in milliseconds, and you can constantly react to market changes and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So that's their HTTP API where you're making HTTP requests as a developer synchronously, and they also have a JSON API as well. Or sorry, not JSON, a WebSocket API as well. So you can subscribe to, you can watch things happen in real time. So let's say an order book, for example, you want to watch new orders come in, you can use this as well. Okay. All right, so that is an overview of dydx. What you can do with it, how you can get started with it today as a developer, the types of things you can do. Again, I know some of this stuff can be challenging to understand the first time around because, hey, a lot of times to be developers, we didn't necessarily sign up to become financial traders or whatnot. But like I said, having this knowledge, it makes you extremely valuable as a blockchain developer because ultimately you need to know the problems, you need to understand the problems that you're trying to solve and what you're trying to write code for. And the more knowledge you have of this, the more valuable you'll be. And you'll also see ways that you can use this for yourself if you want to build your own project. Say you want to do some trading yourself. As always, proceed with caution. But yeah, that's an overview. It's really important for you all to know. Again, we're going to use dydx for the Flash Loan Masterclass. So I want to let you know more about the technology and what it does because it's not just for Flash Loans. Like I said, it's they have this liquidity pool. And basically, once you have a liquidity pool that's this big, you can start implementing other features on top of it that take advantage of that liquidity pool, even if that wasn't necessarily your original intention. That's basically what dydx did. Okay. Oh, and also dydx is, if you've ever taken like calculus before, dydx is the notation for derivatives. That's like why it's named that. So, all right, so let's go ahead and move on into QA. Let's see here. See if there's any questions in the chat. Go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm going to circle back to any questions that might have been added while I was presenting. So Martin says, OMG sidechain was launched. What is a sidechain and how does it connect to the mainnet? So I didn't see the news about the OMG sidechain being launched. I'll have to check that out. But basically what a sidechain is I'll just show you here on the board. So let's just say a sidechain. So Ethereum main chain is the main chain. Sorry, I spelled that wrong. Say main chain. And then you have a sidechain over here. Let's say OMG. All right, so I'm not 100% sure on how OMG works. So I'll just be straight up honest with you right now. But I will give you a very high level explanation of how a main chain sidechain architecture works. And hopefully this will explain what OMG is. Okay. So I may get this a little bit wrong, but here's the gist. Okay. So Ethereum is the main chain. All right, that's the main base layer blockchain where all the settlement happens. Where like basically we know that hey, this person has 100 Ether in their wallet. This person has 5 Ether, and when I send 5 Ether to that person, then their account balance goes up to 10, and mine goes down to 95. Okay, so Ethereum is slow right now, kind of on purpose because of how its security works, but it is a source of truth. Okay, so people implement side chains basically, oftentimes to get a benefit that you can't get with the main chain. Okay, but at a cost. So somebody might implement a side chain to get higher transaction speed, but they might sacrifice something in the process. Okay? So I'm not sure how OMG does it, but that would be an example. So what you can do, a lot of times these two things talk to one another, something called a bridge. All right, so let's put that inside of here. Bridge. Pull this down. Sorry, I can't quite figure out how to get my board to make that. Sorry, everybody. So there you go, perfect. Use the bridge to talk to these things. So a bridge happens at like the virtual machine layer with the nodes. And so like if you want to transfer some tokens from this blockchain to that one, you have to use a bridge, okay? And then vice versa. All right. Now there's some sort of smart contract in place that locks your funds up in one and adds it on the other. So then you can take advantage of some faster transaction speed or something like that on a side chain, and then transfer it back over to the main chain for final settlement. So that's an example of like why you might use a side chain and how they talk to one another. So again, not 100% sure about OMG, how it works, but that's a high level explanation of what you might do with a side chain. Okay. All right. So more questions here. What are the benefits and drawbacks between using the smart contracts versus the HTTP API to make orders? Are they mutually exclusive? Let's see here. So you'll do different things. So the HTTP API is mostly for signing orders and submitting them. So like if you do that in dydx here, that's what you're going to do inside the platform anyway. But so basically, if you're going to create new orders, you would do it with the API versus interacting with the smart contract allows you to do things like deposit funds, stuff like that. Okay, fund your account. So your account has to be funded in order to use it. So that's what you use the smart contracts for. And you can use the HTTP API to like sign your intent to trade and actually submit those to the order book and also consume orders. All right, so let's see here. Any risks on using dydx? If they disappear, then anyone using them will break. Let's see here. All right, so Steve says, can you suggest a site or video on learning the basics of long and short positions, leveraged trading? Sure. Let's see here. Oh, I meant to mention this, by the way. Chris Black is a guy who makes DeFi videos that are really good. So you should definitely watch those if you want to learn more about stuff like this from a user's perspective. He doesn't do developer videos, but he does teach you about DeFi. So I have no problem recommending like his stuff. I'll just show you the video right here. So like if you look at this will probably even answer your question, Steve. So like here's an example. Yeah, here you go. I'll put a link to his channel. I'll put a link in the chat right now. So like here's an example. Yeah, so this is really good. So if you want to get a deeper introduction on dydx, just from like a user's perspective, not a developer's perspective, I would definitely watch this. You can learn more about margin trading, long positions, short positions. Let's see here. You could look at like YouTube. I'll just like, what is margin trading? I would look up maybe something like this. So I'll just put it in the chat. Yeah, I think any of these explainer videos would be helpful. Just kind of doing some really basic high-level financial. These are really helpful to watch, guys. I mean, some of these are talking about it from the more legacy financial system or the traditional financial system, but many of the same concepts apply. So if you want the basics on like how margin trading works, then you can just look up a video like this, a short explainer video that would tell you about that, tell you about leverage, because these are the concepts that get implemented into these DeFi protocols. Now, the liquidity is totally different. I mean, this decentralized liquidity, that's how liquidity pools work with dydx, but this is a similar idea. Basically, in this system, the liquidity is all the exchange. All right, so let's see here. So Santiago says, can I explain how I can become a validator on the NEAR protocol? Well, I'll take a look right now. I'm not super familiar with the NEAR protocol, but I'll look it up and we'll talk about it. So Santiago, I'm assuming this is what it is here. Compute storage platform. Okay. Okay, so run a node. So this is what you want to look at, Santiago. Learn more. Okay, so validator quick start. So I'll put this. I've never done this before, but I'm going to paste your link right now, Santiago. So I would definitely start here. I don't have all the details on this because I haven't done it before, but you definitely want to use this guide. Yeah, this is what I would look at for sure. All right, so Sebastian says this video is good too. So Crow's leverage trading tutorial. So this is from Bybit. Yeah. So there are centralized trading platforms that implement these types of things too. So here's an example. So yeah, I haven't watched this video, but Sebastian says he likes this. So maybe you all can check this out too. Oh, Steve says, has dydx been around for a while? Do I trust them? Yeah, I trust them. So, you know, like I said, I try to give everybody advice on what they should or should not do based on protocols. But I mean, we've definitely seen risks with DeFi. We've seen DeFi hacks over the past few years. But I mean, there are respected projects in the community. Sorry, past few months we've seen DeFi hacks. dydx has been around for a while. But yeah, you know, there are definitely risks to using this new technology. Don't put in more than you can afford to lose, as always. But yeah, I don't think you're going to basically have a risk of someone just like some centralized actor draining the contract, something like that. That makes sense. So, Steve, what I'd say is I have a relatively high degree of trust for dydx. I don't think it's a sketchy project that you have no business touching. That's not what I mean. But you know, there are risks associated with using these DeFi protocols right now, especially some of the hacks and security vulnerabilities that we've seen come out. But it's an object project, and yeah. All right, let's see here. Any more questions? So Martin says, what influence have extreme price moves volatility on the cost of transactions on the dydx DEX as the gas price auto adjusts, or how does that work? That's a good question, Martin. I'm not totally sure off the top of my head. Let me just pull it up and take a look here. Sorry, I had it a second ago. Let's just go back. So Martin says, I'm not totally sure. Martin, I'm pretty sure that the gas prices are going to stay the same. So I'll put it this way. I'm pretty sure the gas fees stay the same, right? But not necessarily gas prices, right? That's important to know. Well, there's two things I would say. Let me just pull this up, ETH gas station. All right. So basically, like, let's just say, essentially the transactions are going to have to call smart contract functions. So let's just say it always uses the same amount of gas probably, or about the same amount of gas, depending on what you do inside the function. So let's say it always costs, 100,000 units of gas. Okay. Now you can change the price of that by for two different factors. One would be the gas price, which you control from your wallet. You can basically say, I want it to happen slower, which is cheap, which would be 18 gwei, or faster, right, which would be 20 gwei. So the faster you want the transaction to go, the more you pay for it. But then they're also affected by the Ether price or the Ethereum price. So if Ethereum gets expensive, then yeah, the actual transaction cost will get more expensive. But this number here, this gas used, won't necessarily change based on the whatever the Ethereum price is doing. This should stay constant, relatively constant, within some sort of tolerance. So that's the first thing I would say. The other thing is, whenever you're creating orders, you don't have to pay gas fees, and that's what's pretty cool about this API. So whenever you just sign orders and submit them to the order book, then like I said, that's all API based. All you do is submit your signature and the information about the order, and you don't pay a gas fee whenever you do that. You only pay a gas fee when it's executed. All right, so let's see here. Any other questions, guys? We'll go and give us about a 5-10 minute warning, something like that. We'll wrap up at 4 p.m. Pacific, maybe a little bit before. If you got any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. So my final questions. If you all missed the first part of the stream, don't forget the Flash Loan Masterclass is next week. All right, so I'm pretty excited about this. We've opened the program back up for Blockchain Master University for new people to join with this Flash Loan Masterclass, and you all just get this for free since you're already part of the program. So I'm excited to give this to you. Excited for more people to join. It's going to be next week on Wednesday, June 10th, and it will be at a different time than this. It'll be 2 hours later. It's going to be 5:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, which is just Pacific time right now because we're on daylight savings time. So just 2 hours later than this, 7 days from now on Wednesday, June 10th. And if you can't make it, don't worry. There'll be a replay. We'll put the video in the video vault. And you all get that just for being part of this program. And when new people come in, you'll see new faces inside of Blockchain Master University. So make everybody feel welcome. So Santiago says we'd not be doing flash loan using dydx, not Uniswap. So Santiago, dydx is the flash loan provider. So basically, they are the liquidity pool where you take a loan out from and pay it back. If that makes sense. So Steve says, so on dydx, if you do a leverage trade, or sorry, leverage long position, do they automatically lend you to make that happen? Yes, Steve, but the lending stays inside the protocol, if that makes sense. So if I go inside of here and I give them, like, say I open a long position, and let's just say I give them 0.1 and I do a 5x leverage. Let's just say I do a 1 ETH, a 5x leverage. I don't just get 5 Ether to like take out of this protocol and do whatever I want to with it. Like I have 5x leverage inside of here. Now you can do borrowing, okay? Where you say, hey, I want to borrow, $10,000 in DAI, but you have to give a different cryptocurrency in order to do that. And usually it's larger than the amount that you're borrowing. So like if you want to borrow $10,000 in DAI, you might have to provide like, $10,100 in Ethereum or something like that. It has to be the collateral position is larger than the debt position typically for these borrowing protocols. So that makes sense. So yeah, it's 2 different ways to do it. Basically, if you're doing a leverage position, you just say I'm going to supply 1 ETH, do 5x leverage, and you're getting loaned, 4 ETH at that point essentially, but for the sole purpose of that trade, and it doesn't leave this protocol, and it only applies to the action that you're currently taking. All right, so Steve says when it says lend it, it was more that I meant inside the protocol. Yeah, they lend it to you inside the protocol. That's like what I was just saying. All right, just a few more minutes here, everybody. If you got any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat room. And also, like I said, this is the new format today. I thought this went well. If you all like this, let me know in the chat. So what we're gonna do is probably do this maybe like once a month. So essentially, I'm still gonna create a video every week for you all, upload it in the video vault, and then once per month, one of those videos will be one just like this, where I present to you all live, and we do Q&A, so you all get to see this live, and then you get to ask questions about what I'm presenting, and we'll also do general Q&A at the end of this. So like, any type of questions you want to ask, like, hey, how does the ONG sidechain work? Like we can explore all that kind of stuff on the call. So yeah, Stephen, it's 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Hopefully I put that right in the chat room. Yeah, 5:30 Pacific time. So yeah, basically next week, the Flash Loan Masterclass will kind of be everything for the week. It'll be the live stream. It'll be the video vault. And then after that, we'll kind of transition into, you'll see I have a new video vault in the video vault. The week after that, week after that, week after that. And then we'll do another video like this where we do a live stream Q&A plus the live video. I think it's worked out well. Perfect. All right, Steve's got the right time. So yeah, if you can't make the live stream next week for the Flash Loan Masterclass, don't worry. There'll be a replay available. But yeah, do check back in the general channel because I'm going to be announcing it, when we go live, and you'll be ready to go. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I thought this went well. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the Slack channel. Go check out dydx. I think it's a really important project. I want to tell you all more about it because, yeah, this is what we're using for Flash Loans. And yeah, they're not just a Flash Loan provider. They are a lot more. And like I said, it is